Hi there, my name's Glenn Withers and I'm one of the founders of APPI. APPI is the Australian Physiotherapy and Pilates Institute, and myself and fellow founder Elisa Withers recognised the need for a brand new program almost 18 years ago. We started our journey getting a scholarship from the Australian Physiotherapy Association to investigate the clinical relevance of Pilates. See, Pilates was out there being used, but there was very little evidence behind it, very little understanding in the medical world about why we were using this program. So Elisa and I travelled over here to the UK and we trained at the Michael King Pilates Institute, and we looked at it from beginner through to advanced in mat and beginner through to advanced in equipment. Elisa then went on and did further training with START and a number of the other teacher training organisations, so we gathered as much information about what was being taught as we could. And here's the crucial thing that we looked at. The exercises weren't really being broken down and analysed well enough for us to use in the medical profession. The movements were great, but the starting position of these movements was too high for the majority of clients that had had injuries. So while we did our training and had great exercises, very little of it we could apply to our work in the NHS and the private health sector straight away. So we sat down and we started analysing each and every exercise, and this is what the APPI method is about, and this is what separates us from most of the other Pilates training organisations out there. For each exercise we have 4 to 6 levels broken down so people can do this program from day one post-pain, day one post-surgery, etc. We looked at 3 things: pain, pathology and function. Okay, pain. Pain is a chemical. Pain happens. We can't stop that. But what does it do to the muscles in your body, and how does that link to your Pilates exercises? You see, when I was being taught the Pilates exercises myself, they kept talking about muscles being used in this particular exercise. But actually, pain medicine tells us that the pain has inhibited those muscles. Therefore, they're not actually being used correctly, and we need an alternative movement to be able to reconnect with those muscles. And that's what we looked at. Okay, what muscles are inhibited by pain and what muscles are not? And how do we alter these exercises to ensure we can grab hold and retrain those exercises that pain is inhibiting? And then we looked at pathology. Okay, what common injuries out there that we know about, back pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, knee pain, all this stuff, that over the 20 years or so of being physiotherapists we've been able to look at and thought, right, does this exercise help or hinder that particular injury? And that's how we came up with the indications and contraindications for our program. And lastly, and crucially, especially in our rehab module, we looked at function. Okay, does this exercise actually change function? And we went all the way back to our neurological training as physiotherapists and looked at the Carr and Shepherd motor relearning program. And what this tells us is, when you take the full functional movement, if you can break that down into parts and then rebuild it up, you gain much better long-term resolution. And so that's what we've done. We've looked at the end-stage functional movement, we've looked at the Pilates exercise, and then broken it down into our 4 to 6 levels to create this step-by-step program that's very, very specific to help you get the results. And it's this approach, this analysis, and this clinical reasoning that sets us apart from any of the other Pilates programs. Many Pilates programs work in sequences, in series. This is the beginner series, this is the intermediate series, this is the advanced series. And we take a completely different approach. We're not saying one's right or wrong, we're saying this is our approach and we know it works because we've been using it in our own clinics, and we've now developed the program through 22 countries around the world, and we train around 2,000 to 3,000 people per year in this program. Specifically, we tried it in different socio-economic areas. Can it work in the outskirts of Brazil, the same as it can work in a vibrant city like London? Can it work in the NHS as well as in private practice? And thankfully, yes it can. We've backed that up with research, we've looked at neuro programs, running programs, back pain programs, and it's all rounded up into what we believe is the most in-depth Pilates teacher training program that you can get. Recently, over the last couple of years, we've expanded the program to what we call our comprehensive program, where we withdraw a little bit from the in-depth pain analysis and research program of the rehab modules and look more at the movement focus and how we use the same exercises with the same levels, with the same understanding, but looking at that more from the general public's point of view and looking more at group exercise and teaching people where they're not in such an acute pain. And that's essential because that allows us to create this network of teachers. You see, many people in the rehab world are looking for somebody to pass their clients on to. And that's what our comprehensive programs, they specifically link in to our physiotherapy network, and it creates an enormous value for them in setting up their classes and their business. Rather than going out there and being on your own, you go out there as an APPI teacher and you've got the whole network of our rehab world looking for somewhere to send you your clients. So I'm really, really proud of the program. We have this brilliant starting program, be it looking at your comprehensive program or your rehab program. And due to the demand of the courses, we now have our bridging program, which is for those of you that are already Pilates trained through another organisation and want to join us. There's a specific pathway for you to follow as well. And most importantly, we support you in your career moving forwards. We have around about 24 separate continuing education programs for you, from hypermobility to scoliosis to shoulders to runners to cyclists to anti-postnatal, kids and teens, osteoporosis. There's an enormous array there. So here at APPI, we're really proud to be one of the world's largest teacher training companies. We continue to push ourselves to get better, we continue to push our teachers to get better, and we continue to try to look at how we can support you in your career moving forward. So if you're there trying to decide what it is you want to do with your career, I can't urge you strongly enough to choose Pilates. And if you're going to choose Pilates, choose APPI, and we'll help you get there.